Um, Good morning, everyone. And I'm CEO of Unwired based in Houston, Texas. We are really delighted to have all of you joining us. Today's topic is how Kaneka derives ROI with Power BI, Microsoft Fabric, Copilot Studio AI agents, and also Fabric data agents. Next slide, please. So before we start diving deep, couple of housekeeping points. We are recording this webinar, and we will send you the link to the recording. Please feel free to drop your questions in the Q&A chat box anytime, and we will take questions at the end. So we'll also, unmute the phones. You can speak. You can either text your question or speak up. So next slide, please. Also, we are offering two special offers to all attendees today. Firstly, we are offering a free data and AI discovery workshop. So if you are looking to modernize your data platform, or you have a challenge around data ingestion, transformation, happy to share our experience with you. Similarly, if you're looking to start your AI journey, AI agent journey, and trying to identify use cases you want to explore, we are happy to also have those discussions with you to jumpstart your AI journey. And then when you're ready to build your first AI agent, we are offering special discounted pricing to get that first AI agent built so that we can all enter the era of agentic AI, right? So, okay, next slide, please. So let's meet the speakers. Today's main speaker is Prabhu Ramachandran. Prabhu is a senior leader in the digital transformation team at Kaneka, based in Houston, Texas. He's got years of experience, working. He has set up multiple chemical plants. He has worked in Japan, US, and currently in Texas. Over the last 2 years, he has focused on delivering operational excellence, which means he's been, heavily involved with analytics and AI agents and Fabric agents, and he's going to be sharing and demoing, all his experience. Joining us today is also Unwired's data expert, Chad Wynn. Chad is based in Houston, and he's a seasoned data architect, having worked across, chemicals, oil and gas, manufacturing companies. He brings together cloud, analytics, Power BI, and data really governance, and he will be also sharing his experience today. So next slide, please. So some of the key takeaways from our slides from our webinar today is, how do you architect a strong data foundation? We are going to focus on Fabric, but really the principles would apply to any data platform. It's about how do you modernize your data platform so that we're all set up for the AI era that is already upon us. We'll also kind of discuss today, how do you query your data, using a natural language interface, and we'll demo the use of Copilot for Power BI within Fabric. Right. I think this is a question that comes up frequently. Everybody wants to, query, have this natural language conversation with our data. We'll also discuss and demo how to build AI agents using Microsoft Copilot Studio. And what is really of interest to me, particularly, is building what we call Fabric data agents, and connecting those Fabric data agents with Copilot Studio agents, so you can query your data even outside Fabric, straight from Copilot. So those are some of the key takeaways. Let's go to the next slide, please. And I'm going to hurry up so we can go down, get down and get into the meat of the presentation. The agenda is very clear. Prabhu will share Kaneka's data vision, why they went with Microsoft Fabric. Right at the 15-minute mark, we will do the demo for Copilot for Power BI, Fabric data agents, Copilot Studio agents. And then we'll discuss a little bit, not too much, about how some of the agents that we have built on Copilot Studio, and really then open it up for questions and answers. So next slide, please. So just to set the context, Kaneka is a large Japanese company. They manufacture chemicals and polymers, and they even make some biological products. $5 billion, pretty large company, and they are basically in the U.S. Their headquarters are in the Houston area in Texas. All right, next slide, please. And Unwired is a digital solutions company. We are focused on data solutions, building AI agents, And before this, we've, of course, our DNA has been building a lot of custom web and mobile apps. So we're an app dev company now, really focusing on data and AI. And we are also a SAP certified company. So next slide, please. So this is the last slide before we go in. And over our journey, we've got a lot of recognition from leading analysts like Gartner and certifications by SAP. We're extremely proud of that. And with that, let's dive into the meat of this webinar today. Prabhu, I'm going to hand it over to you. If you next slide, please. So, Prabhu, if you can talk about the data vision and what you have been doing at Kaneka, that will be great.
Yeah, thank you, Alok, and thanks for having me on this webinar. So this slide is more to just to show what was Kaneka's, what is the problem we were trying to solve and what was the goal we were trying to achieve. So it's a universal problem that everyone has, right? You have several systems of excellence, let's say vertical, like siloed data sources, and then you want to get a horizontal cut. So that's what it's basically shown on that slide. So we had a lot of siloed data, manual reporting delays, and then Power BI is used, but you again use it as a local instance. And then you have limited self-service insights, manual integration, and slow decision making. So what we wanted to do as a goal is to simplify the process workflow. Modernized reporting, have a unified, a central data platform, right? And then also have conversational data agentic AI type NLP, natural language querying, so that we can make better decision making and have ROIs. Yeah. Next slide. So why Microsoft Fabric? There are many hyperscalers, as you know. It's just that when you have a small data science team and you want to do a lot of scaling, Microsoft Fabric provided us that landscape where if you are a Microsoft partner heavily into it, then all that authentication stuff like that exists and coexists inside the Microsoft. So that's why it's one platform where we can pull in a lot of pipelines. You can do Power BI integration. You can pull data from different sources. The other one is it's a SaaS, right? You don't have to start off like a large capacity. Start at a small capacity, and then you can scale as we scale with the organization. The next slide, please. Thank you. So if you see, the Fabric offers a lot of things from data ingestion. You can do data engineering. It also has one lake and warehouse where you can store data, and data science capabilities are there. Then you can actually provide real-time intelligence, use Power BI for reporting and so on. The beauty about it is also you have Copilot Studio where you can create agentic AIs and those type of things. And then you're not dependent on querying your data source in SharePoint. So where you're pulling it into Fabric, where it becomes like a one lake house and warehouse of concept. And then you also have Microsoft Purview for data governance. So it has everything in it. It's cloud-based analytic platform, and it unifies a lot of tools in the organization right into one platform. And then you can choose Fabric depending on organization needs, and there are other items available, other hyperscalers available. So we went with Fabric for this reason. The next slide. So just to give an architecture, so you like I mentioned, you have a lot of data sources right on the left. So what Fabric does is you can actually use APIs. You can connect. If it's SharePoint, you don't have to create APIs because the Microsoft environment provides you that the connection and the authentication. So then you're able to get it in, actually bring it and actually store the data in a what I call a bronze, silver, gold layer, and you can parse the data and come up with outcomes. The end users, it can be a Power BI or type of report where someone creates it a Power BI report and then shares as a web browser based. And you can have Copilot to actually even query the data depending on the application. Yeah, the next slide. Thank you. So this is just an example. If you look at it, some report which I will share, you can create using Fabric, and also you can create a data agent in Fabric. And then if you see all the slides below, there are some examples of how Copilot and Fabric would react. So instead of querying Copilot with the unstructured data, Fabric provides you that structured data where the querying or hallucination is less. It goes straight to the semantic model and gives you the results you're looking for. And the next slide, thank you. So if you look at this, what can Fabric do is that is what it looks like, right? The consumer and then you have the data sources. So you can actually combine the data, pull in, you can have a context, you can have tools, you can publish the data agent, and then you can have end users query this data from Fabric or Azure AI Foundry, Copilot Studio, Teams, and so on. Yeah, the next one. So this one also shows using Copilot Studio, you can connect knowledge sources. It can be unstructured, like an SOP or things which is on SharePoint, and you can also create that data agent in Fabric and use both, and then you can publish it to any end user. So I would just highlight the things are changing. We are so used to what I call crystallized knowledge, like what we learned, and so on. Now the domain is moving towards fluidized knowledge, which means ask the right question. You don't have to be an expert, but you get the answers. But the data source is all vetted out, and then Fabric and Copilot will be very smart to give you the answers for the end users. Yeah, next slide. Thank you. Yeah, one of the key highlights is to organizing the data source right by business function, and having it cross-functional. And this gives you very good user authentication, and those type of things. And there's a lot of you can create data ingestion pipelines and role based. You can have like a data scientist. You can power users, so you can give access to who needs access. So your data is safe. So the other one is you have a centralized dashboards in Power BI. You will be able to use a semantic model in a much more highlighted way. Yeah, next slide, thank you. The ROI is basically faster reporting cycles, a lot of reduction in manual effort. So you will see RPA, right? So earlier traditional method is like manual Excel and so on, and then now it's more automated. It has better visibility, and you can actually reach to different users. Yeah. Next slide. Yeah. Here I'll hand it off to Chad. I think Chad can take it from here. Yeah. Then I can go back to the demo.
Okay, let's see. Can everyone hear me?
Yeah.
All right. Okay, so what you're looking at here is we got Copilot and Fabric for Power BI, and the other one is Fabric Data Agent. So what does that mean? So Copilot and Fabric for Power BI meaning that within while you are working with your Power BI, whether Power BI desktop, you can switch to Copilot, and then you can start asking questions directly in Power BI, whether it's online version or Power BI desktop, right? You can ask it to generate a report, to create some decks for you, and give you some hint on how to do some transformation using your own language, right? And then can kind of having that conversation with Power BI. Now, Microsoft has recently introduced something called Fabric Data Agent, and it is in preview. It's not general availability, but essentially what it does is, Prabhu and myself will demonstrate, later. What the agent does is, within Fabric, you would create a data agent, and then for that agent, you would give it the data sources that it needs to answer questions. Now, after you give that the data sources, then you can give the agent some instructions. For certain type of questions, you want to ask the data from this source, and giving the agent some meaning and some context and some reasoning. Like, hey, synonym or synonym of certain word with meaning this. For the people can ask about sales or using different terminology to say something. You can say, well, when people mention these keywords, this is actually what it actually means inside the data source. And the data source could be a lake house, a warehouse, a semantic model, right? And I think once you create that data agent, then you can expose that data agent to the outside of Fabric, and people can start to communicate. Now, this is all good, but the fact that it is it's still in preview, right? But I think the key message is Microsoft has the forethought to actually make it easy and to expose that data within this Fabric, to the common user to use. Okay, so next slide. All right, so I'll turn that over to Prabhu for the demo.
Yeah, thank you. Let me share a screen. So let me know once you see the screen.
Yes, we can see it.
Okay, perfect, perfect. So I'm just giving a small demo. It's nothing, it's just whatever we discussed, just to show it practically. What I did was to get this data source into Power BI, and was able to visualize these type of graphs. But the best part is just to show you a easier way. I can also use Copilot basically to create a new report, right? So Copilot will do everything for you and actually create a new page in Power BI, and then you can publish this report. So I think it's working on it. So if I show while it's doing it, some of this were created using Copilot right here. So this was automatic. I didn't do anything in it. Once you ask the question, it's able to query and do it. So I know it's taking some time. I'm not sure why, but so that's just the gist of it is like that report was created using there you go. So it'll tell you, okay, what type of reports do you need, and it'll analyze the data. You can also query the data, and you can ask it to create a new report. So going
So,
from
Prabhu, just to be
here,
clear, this report was created by Copilot.
yeah, this
What
one
you do
right here.
right now? Okay.
Absolutely, absolutely, absolutely. So if you say what is to be creating, right? So create a new report. So it'll actually create the new page. It'll put in the data. So it's actually doing it right now. So I'm not, my hands are free. So
Right.
so it'll
Got
do
it.
it. It'll create the page, and it'll actually create a pretty good overview of OE analysis, anything it pertains to it. Yeah, it's probably the internet is slow, or
And then
so
can you
just an
ask
example.
questions? And then can
Yeah,
you maybe give us an example of maybe querying the, I don't know, you would know the right question to
you
ask.
can. So this one is just to show how it's creating a new report page quickly. Just an example, when you type in, say, create a new report page, all that is automated, and it creates a page. So what you could do is also you can publish this report to the end user using a Fabric, right? So this is just to show when you publish it in Fabric, it'll end up somewhere here, and then you can actually publish to the end users. How the end users look like for them is it's like a regular web browser based, where the important thing is it'll show the same report. You don't have to worry about anyone changing anything, right? But then again, you can also go in Copilot here, because Fabric allows Copilot to be switched on the browser. And yes, it is, you have to give access to the end user who's going to use this, and you can ask anything about it, right? You can ask Copilot to give me a summary, and what it does is it goes back to the semantic model, because your data is already structured, and is able to extract information and provide you these type of results. So you can ask any type of question. Just a small demo. So this was actually a report which was built on Power BI, published on Fabric. So the other one is you can also create a agent. So this is just to show the agent was created, and then you can actually query here too, and then you can deploy this in Copilot Studio. So how it's going to look, I can show you one quickly. If I go into Fabric, so you can actually publish right under, oh, right here. So that's the agent. Actually, I can pull it up, and you can actually see it's loading the data agent. So what it did is basically I was querying it. I was asking it questions like, hey, give me, let's say, give me OEE, and then it'll works much faster because it goes into that particular semantic model and provides you the information very quickly. So this is how it looks like. Then what you do is you publish this agent, and then in Copilot Studio you can actually create this. That's how the agent looks like. And then you can also add on a lot of knowledge, meaning you might have an SOP and so on. So just imagine I put in a SharePoint Excel file, right, in SharePoint. That's the knowledge. then you can also deploy the agent which I showed in here. So what it does is now you have the ability, you can publish this in Office 365 or Teams, so the end user can look at it in a very different way. And when I query this, you can actually see the agent. Uh, it'll actually go and test it. So this is how an agent gets deployed. You can see that it goes in, triggers, and then looks at the model MCP protocol or to the Microsoft Fabric agent, and then provides you the results. And when it starts looking at the actual semantic model, the results are much cleaner rather than going to unstructured data. So you want to use the data in a way that it's a combination of both. So if you look at that, that's a clear indication of how it works. Just to show you an example, the idea is you can create that, you can deploy it, right? You can share, add knowledge to it. You can add tools if you want to say, hey, go to a human, get some feedback. You can do that. Agent knowledge source is here, and this is connected to the semantic model. And then you can actually look at what the activity, how is it functioning? Is it pulling the data from the data agent, or is it searching other sources? You can do evaluation of it. You can do analytics, and then you can actually publish it in the channels. So the way that's
And the
the
channels could be
meat of it.
Teams or anywhere else, right? So people can use the
Right, right. So
agent,
in
for example,
Teams,
for Teams.
I can bring you
Yeah,
this
right
one.
there.
So
You
what
can
I
see all
did
the
was,
channels there. Yeah.
right. So you can publish it in Teams. In this case, you have an option to do it on Copilot, also on Teams. So this is just to the same thing.
Prabhu,
But
can you show the
the
agent instructions? I think that may, because I think, yeah,
oh yeah,
that
yeah,
may be of interest.
absolutely, absolutely. So if you look at it, how we build it, right? So there's instructions was given. So you have to edit and write instructions. The way we let me show this.
How
This was
important
instructions
is
given.
giving instructions
I
in
think
this whole thing?
prompting is the key, right? So if you don't, it's like reverse engineering. So if you ask the right questions, it takes easier, less time for it to query. So it does matter. And also you have to agent is like you have to give it a personality, right? So you have to tell him or her like how will you query the data and how do you want it to answer. So these are some of the questions we said. Okay, what type of data, topics, tone and style. So you can actually mention all that, and then we say these instructions overall, and then explain each the rules for planning, how to approach each question, those type of things. And then you actually give even more instructions. You actually even give suggested prompts. So otherwise what happens is anyone can prompt in a different way, but if you query it in a certain prompt engineering fashion, then you give the end users a very nice way to actually query it quicker instead of typing in something in random. So this can be like, okay, give me metrics or highlight critical findings. It'll do all that for you. So yeah, that's the main thing I wanted to show, and I'll hand it
So
off
I
to
guess
Chad.
just to recap before we hand it to Chad,
Yeah,
essentially, basically what you're saying is we can create an agent in Copilot Studio agent. I think you showed how you can add a knowledge source, you can add tools,
right.
you can add, in fact, another agent, you can connect one agent to the other. And instructions are important. And of course, prompt engineering is also there. So you would probably need to do all of this to build a good agent, right?
Right, right. So on the surface, it looks like magic, but under the surface, there is this data engineering. So what you really saw was data ingestion. So you can do, right? You can just give like a Word file and say, go search. So what it does is that it's unstructured data, the knowledge search can happen. But if you're trying to play with a little bit of structured data, you want to streamline and all that, then you bring that data, structure it inside Fabric. So it becomes like a database. So when you query a database, of course, it's faster. But the beauty about it is to combine this too, right? Just imagine you have an SOP, and then you also have a list of tables. It can connect a lot of different data sources. Now you can use the power of both worlds, as I call, and it's all again ends up with tokenizing, right? How many tokens it uses to evaluate the data. So unstructured data normally takes large, it can get hallucinated. So what the Fabric does is it structures the data, and that is the best part. And I think recently in Microsoft Ignite they came up with the Foundry IQ and a lot of things. So you
Even
can
Fabric
actually,
IQ.
yeah, you can take a picture, you can actually give a context to it, extract data from it. So it's becoming very interesting. Earlier it was a little difficult, but by the week or by the month, things are changing so fast. Now you have this, you can deploy MCP, model context protocols. So you can actually, that agent doesn't have to be one agent. It can be multiple agents, multiple data sources, and so on. You can add any amount of data you want to add. So you can actually keep adding knowledge, and then it'll let you add from different sources, right?
So
You,
Prabhu,
you
let
can
me do a
see,
time check. Is this a good time to move to chat,
yeah,
or do you want
to
to show
chat.
anything else?
No, this
Okay.
is perfect. This is perfect. I think I'm
Okay.
good. Thank
So
you. Chat,
thank
over
you
to you.
for doing that demo. I think it really makes it gives one a much more practical sense of what we're talking about instead of just having theory. So Chad, if you can demo your Fabric Data Agent and connecting agents, let's do that.
Okay, so I think Prabhu has done all the hard work already. So right now, I'm just going to go through the mechanic on how to create like an agent within Microsoft Fabric, and then pull in the data. Okay, so I mean I don't want to repeat a lot of the information that Prabhu has shared with the group, right? So let's start with this. So I have in here I have a workspace, a sample workspace called sales analysis. And in here, I have a number of items, Fabric items. And if you're familiar with Power BI, semantic model, right? And you got a sales report. And then this is something new. This is called the agent. And agent is something that I would create, right? So I'm going to do that right now. So in here, I'm going to click on new from within my workspace, click new item. And then here, I would select the data agent, okay? And then you can see it's still preview. It's new by Microsoft, and I'll click that. Okay, and then give it a name, call it, okay, webinar, my Unwire, sales agent, okay?
Okay.
Now I am creating a agent, and it's quite simple to do this. So with this agent, you're going to add data source. You're going to give it some data for its to. So now when you look at this whole thing, like, wow, I got some lake house, I got some warehouse, I got some sandbox, everything that I have access to. But you don't want to give your agent everything, because a lot of these could be like staging, kind of intermediary data that have not been vetted. So you want to pick the data that you trust and endorse, right? So here I'm going to pick this one, semantic model sales. Okay, I click that and I add. So give it some time. Okay, now it's added to the agent. Okay, now with this semantic model here, I can see the models with all the columns. Okay, and you can see, some fact tables to dimension. So this is a typical, semantic model. So in the fact table, you can see some measure that I created before, like that. And now for this agent, I will just select which tables that I want this agent to use to answer questions, right? And so now that I've added the data source to the agent, I'm going to go to the setup, and I'm going to add an agent instruction. So here, this is where you add all the different instructions. Now I've created one already, so I'm going to click on here. This is the previous agent. I'm going to click that, and you can see everything is similar to the other one, but now with this one I have with instruction, right? It's like for any numeric amount, use the measures in the model, okay? The price means the wholesale price, or the cost of the item, sales is this is all the instruction for the date, for date related calculation using these columns. So I give it all, all the instruction that I need. The more, the better, I would think, right? And after you've done all of that, you would test it out, over here. And I've created some tests in here that I would, what is sales for 2004? And then the system will create something like that for me. Okay. So this is the old one. Okay. Let's look at the one that I created and see if it works. Okay. So I'm going to data. I got everything here, and I've got instruction. I'm going to leave it. Why don't I do this? go to, I'm going to copy the same instruction that I have on the other one. Here.
So we're going to have a conversation with the data now. Is that right?
Yes.
Okay.
So now I can ask questions. So this is a brand new agent, right? So I'm going to say, hey, what is my total sales for 2024 and 2025? Okay, so it's going through it.
So it shows you the steps also, right? It's thinking.
Yes. Mm-hmm. So
Just
after
analyze
you
something.
test after you test the agent and make sure that it's working the way you want it, then you can publish, right? So you can. I mean, if you use your imagination to ask questions, and then here I'm gonna publish.
So we got the answer there, correct?
Yep. Mm-hmm. So here we got the answer right here, and then I can even ask, okay, what are my top five customers, year to date.
So maybe, Chad, if you can take a couple of more minutes, and then we can, go back to the presentation.
Okay.
And keep some time
right.
for Q&A. So that'll be.
Yes. Okay. So it will give you the answer right here, right? So the next step is I, publish, and here you publish. And the one thing you also publish Agent Store in Microsoft 365. When you click this, so you make this agent available on the other side. Okay. Users agent. Ask me about sales. So so once you publish your data, and the question you would ask, like, hey, who could actually use this data? Who can actually go in these agents, that's one I publish, and ask questions? Will they have access to all the data? Who access would it use to see the data? So because Microsoft manage all the permission and roles, it actually look at the data source, which is like the semantic model inside the workspace. You can set a permission for who allowed to see it. So even if when you publish the agent and make it out there, if the people do not have access to the data inside Fabric, they will not get the answer. So Microsoft, have all the intuitive controls and permission built within the tool that you don't have to worry. You don't have to worry about your data leaking, elsewhere because of this agent, right? So that is the extent of my demo.
Okay.
Right. So here I can see once I publish, you can go to Copilot Studio and create an agent, and then for that agent you can pull in the Fabric data agent that I just created in here, and then you can ask these questions. Now, in the interest of time, I'm not going to do that, and Prabhu has done more than enough to show us how it was done. So with that, let's open the floor for questions.
No, we have a couple of other slides before that. So, Chad, Sushil, can we go? Yeah. Can we go back to the presentation, please? And yeah, we'll open up the questions within 2 minutes here.
Yeah. So right now, I'm going to unshare.
Yes.
Right? I'm going to unshare my screen, and then we go from there.
Thank you, Chad.
Yep.
I think that was really helpful. All right. Yeah, so we just wanted, so far we've talked about Fabric and the data agents, but we've also been working with Prabhu and other customers in building other kinds of AI agents using Copilot Studio. And by the way, you don't have to really work with an external For Microsoft has made it very easy for customers to build their own data agents. So they have two versions. One is the Copilot Studio Lite, and then they have the full experience. So, if you want to build simple search agents, add a knowledge source, you can build them on your own, less than an hour using Copilot Studio Lite. But then if you are trying to build more complex agents, which is reasoning and taking actions and you need to call APIs and all that, then of course you may want to work with external partners. And that's where you probably use some Power Automate, Power Platform connectors and things like that, right? And connecting multiple agents together, orchestrating agents. But Microsoft is giving a lot of features. A couple of things we wanted to highlight is Agent 365 for governance of agents. Microsoft just announced this. So you can imagine in a world where there'll be hundreds of agents and humans working together, it's very important to be able to control the management of these agents, the access, their life cycle. So Agent 365 is Microsoft's product to govern all the agents we'll be building so that it doesn't become chaos out there. And they also introduced App Builder in Microsoft 365 Copilot, where, to build simple agents from Outlook or Teams, you can build them on your own. You don't need to come to Unwired or anybody else. So we just wanted to share some of the key features there. Next slide, please. And really, so we've been, yeah, you can show all of them. So we've been building a lot of AI agents. One of the most common ones is search agents. I think if you guys haven't started, that would be a great way to start your AI journey, building some simple, search agent, connecting maybe SharePoint as a knowledge source and using Copilot to query it. A couple of interesting, more complex apps that we have built is one of them is AI agent for SAP asset management. So using Copilot Studio, we built an agent that you could be in Teams and actually create a notification in SAP plan maintenance module, just making it easier. You don't have to be in SAP. So for asset management, we are focusing on that. But you could really interact with any ERP, right? So the idea is the AI is the new UI. Using Copilot, you can interact with Salesforce, with SAP, whatever, right? And then currently we are building a very interesting agent for HR, for recruiting AI agent. And the idea there is to basically shortlist candidates based on a match of job requirements and resume skills, and then also assisting the interviewer with questions they should be thinking about based on the gaps in the resume that the AI has found. So again, I think if you guys are thinking of where do we start our agent journey, you can look at a line of business like in HR or supply chain, or it could be a common agent like a horizontal agent like document search. So again, if as you're thinking of starting your AI agents journey, think about the use cases which can really drive business value, and that is what our suggestion would be. I think we're ready to open it up for Q&A. We have about 7 minutes left, so I don't know if there's any Q&A in the chat, or let's unmute the lines. Let's take some questions.
Yes, look, there is a
Maybe
question in the
can
chat
you open up the
box.
last slide with the free offer? Some people may have missed it. Sushil?
Sure. Sure.
Yeah, so people can just see the offer, right? So they can take advantage of it. Yeah, what is the question? Go ahead. Oh, okay. So Sushil, go ahead. What is the question?
Yes. So there's a question: what level of the organization is using the agents?
Okay, I can take a cut at that. Graham, so the agents that we have built or customers are using it is being used by leaders like Prabhu, and also by HR professionals. We are seeing them being used at the field level for asset management. But maybe Prabhu, as a customer, can you answer that question? Who's using the agents?
Absolutely, absolutely. I think you have to create the agents with in mind, like which level in the organization people will be using. So you can customize it for leaders, and you can also customize it for someone who's looking for a lot of details. So the idea is just basically how the questions are asked. You can create an agent like that. So it's going to go into the data and query, so anyone can ask a question. The idea is if a senior leader is looking for like average, for the month, then he'll give you that type of questions. And if someone who's an engineer looking for how much is trouble downtime in a particular month, it'll answer that also. It basically goes back to the model, but it's very important to design your workflow, targeting those. That's a good question, actually. Targeting, like, okay, is the site team going to look at it? Is it the sales team? Is it the technician looking at it, or it's a sales engineer? It can be a wide variety of personas. So you can actually create multiple agents querying the same database, and you can give access for them.
What we are finding is, especially for that conversation with the data, a lot of senior executives want to use it because they don't want to go to Power BI and click and all that. So I think I think executives really want that natural language conversation. What were my sales? What's not working? That's what we are finding, in terms of the data agents. So, but
Right.
as you
Alok,
said, it's all persona based.
if I may add, so what's happening is earlier it was the context, right? Crystallized knowledge. So someone had to be really an expert to dig information. Right now, you're making it fluidized, meaning anyone can query the data. And then, and it's right, you don't have to go dig into the data, right? It takes a lot of time to collect the information and then come up with an outcome. And here you're able to, the agent will do it for you. You can actually have a specific agent to do a specific task. So you can actually, that's the advantage of it. It speeds up the process of the information quickly in the fingertips of people. That's what it does.
Again, and before people start dropping off, again, I just want to reiterate the special offer we have. If you're thinking of starting an AI journey or data journey, have any questions, feel free to reach out to us, and let's build an AI agent together. It will be a lot of fun. Okay, any more questions?
Yes, I just want to make announcement. So lines are open. If you want to ask question, you can just unmute yourself and ask.
Yeah, it's great being a lot. Yeah, but very impressive. Great to see. I can definitely see the value of when I was in my previous role of being able to interrogate the data like this. Can you talk a little bit more about the ability to interrogate unstructured data?
Okay, Chad or Prabhu, who wants to take that?
So what it does is you can have like a SOP, standard operating manual, right? A user manual, a Word file. So you can actually use that as a knowledge base, but you have to basically tell the agent to go look at that knowledge base, and it is able to query that data. The only thing is if you have it structured, meaning then the so it's going to take it's going to do natural language querying, right? It's going to take vectorization of the data, and it's going to take and read it. So it's important is every time the question is asked, if you take that answer back and store it, then it can do it. Yes, it can actually take it from an unstructured data also.
And Graham, Microsoft has made it even easier now. So the way you search for unstructured data is through this whole RAG process, right? Retrieval augmented generation. But Microsoft has really made it easy and much more effective so that hallucinations are much lesser. So today you can create a search agent for unstructured data very easily and with very good accuracy. So a lot of advancements have come in this RAG area, if you will, by all vendors. It's much
So
easier now than 6 months ago. Yeah, go ahead.
Let me add a little color in this, right? So oftentimes people would come like, hey, I have this like sheets of numbers everywhere, and I want my agent to be able to get me the answer, a deterministic answer, a number based on a number of sources from document. You will get yourself into trouble if you ask the AI to do something like that. So the bottom line is if you got like, heavy like database with number, with governance, and with, make sure people vet it, you've got to put that data into a structure like a database. And then you ask the AI to use the AI agent to answer those questions. Because oftentimes if you do not give the AI that information, it will make up stuff based on the paper, based on all these number from all these unstructured sources, right? It's going to be very difficult for you to verify. So, I mean, we come to customers like, hey, agent is so smart now. Why do I need to cleanse my data? Why I just load a bunch of data in there and let the agent figure it out for me? It doesn't work that way. I mean, I wish it could, but it needs to have some, some governance into that structured data. I hope that answered your question.
Oh, absolutely, yeah. No, it's just the being able to validate and be able to stand behind that data. Ensuring that it's accurate to your point.
So I think Graham, there are two worlds, right? The unstructured data and the structured data. For structured data, yes, you need to build the right semantic models to get really good answers. But for unstructured data like documents, as I said, with RAG having evolved a lot, it's much easier now. And you can certainly, we've got customers using search agents for, searching for safety information in documents and all that. So, and we can talk more about it for sure, Graham. All right. Okay, I think we're at the 45-minute mark. Is there any one question? Otherwise,
Alok, there is one.
Yeah.
Yes, Alok, there is one more question. What is the easiest way to try Fabric with least effort or investment?
Yeah, so there's two ways you can do it. Microsoft gives a 2-month free trial for Fabric. So I would encourage you to just enroll in the free trial. And also their lowest capacity starts at F2. That's about $250 a month. So once you have done your trial and you want to use it, you can start your journey slowly and it's not too costly. It goes all of the way to F64, but start with a free trial and an F2 instance after that. Okay, I think we are past the 45-minute mark. So I want to thank everybody who attended. Thank you for your questions. We will send the recording and the presentation, and our next webinar will be on Copilot, more AI agents, maybe in the new year. And again, happy holidays, everyone. Thank you for your time. Thank you, Prabhu and Chad, for sharing your insights and doing the demo. Thank you. Goodbye.
Thank you. Bye-bye.